А тепер почуємо про гаритативну працю в Україні організації Medical Mercies Едмонтону.
John, welcome to Toronto. And if you wouldn't mind, please tell us what is the main aim of Medical Mercies?
The main aim of Medical Mercies is to provide medical services in the Ukraine, Nepal, northern India, and the Burmese-Thai border. What we do is we provide medicine, we provide doctor services. Doctors go over there. As a matter of fact, the doctors pay their way over there themselves. They pay for their travel, they pay for the living expenses, and the money that we collect goes to buy medicine. And there's an organization which gives us a 90% discount for the medicine that we buy. So we go there and look after the forgotten, the elderly, and the young. And in the Western Ukraine, we help with the building and refurbishing of the hospitals, bring the doctors in, optometrists. We look after the medical services for those people in the villages, because the big cities, they're doing okay. They have doctors in the big cities. We find that in the Ukraine, there is no doctors in the smaller cities. There are no hospitals, there's no medical services provided. And a lot of the Ukrainians, especially the elderly, are forgotten. They're cast to the side, and that's where they are. And I look at it and say, it could be your mother, it could be my mother, that's thrown literally to the side.
How do you identify which are the towns or cities that need help and what kind of help? How do you quantify or qualify that?
Well, the surprising thing is that when you go to most of the towns in the Ukraine, the small villages, they all need help. We go into some of the towns where the buildings, when the Soviet Union broke up, some of the buildings were destroyed, and they haven't been repaired since. Doctors have left. A lot of the doctors have gone to Mother Russia or to Russia. A lot of the other doctors have gone to Poland, to Germany, to Canada, because they can make a better living. Doctors are underpaid there, so the medical services are really, in the small towns, are almost non-existent. And if you do find a town with a doctor in it, you can't afford the medicine, because the medicine is prohibitive. It's expensive. And if you're on a pension, like a lot of the old elderly in the Ukraine, they're poor, extremely poor. So it's a shame, but that's the way it is.
Now we also have in Ukraine not only a lack of medical support for the elderly, but there's also the broad problem of corruption. How do you bypass that if you're building buildings and if you're trying to provide a service in Ukraine?
Well, in the Ukraine, we have a sort of an organization in the Ukraine, and they help us with that so that we don't get stuck in an area where there is corruption. One of the things is money is hard to get. Getting volunteers is hard to get, to get somebody to go over there. And if they're coming over there and they're paying their way, we're bringing medicine. We're not bringing money in our pockets to build buildings. We're bringing mostly medicine. We do bring some money over for building material, but there isn't enough for somebody to say, hey, we need this big chunk of money, because it's all in medicine form. And we're very selective as to who we give it to.
Now you say medicine, that's a pretty broad statement. What kind of medicine do you find is needed most in Ukraine or in the villages, for example?
Everything. That's the long and short of it. It's everything. It's absolutely everything. Even aspirin. They don't have aspirin. So when you look at the people in the villages, they're having a tough time. The elderly and the really young. If you can't work and you can't make a living, you're stuck in the village. Some of the bigger towns like Kiev and Lvov and Kharkov, they're okay. They have medical services, but they also don't have medicine in a lot of those hospitals, and they also don't have doctors, which is really surprising. There was a TV program, this is what brought me to this entire thing. I was watching a TV program once, and I saw a British doctor, and this British doctor was saying, he was in Kiev, and saying, I can't believe it. A country like this with no doctors. And he was talking about a specific young lady, and he said this young lady, if she was in England, she would live. But here it's a matter of months and she's going to die because there is no medicine for her. And the reason there is no medicine, it's because it's expensive. So it is, they drive Bentleys, and I think that if they can afford Bentleys, that's good. God bless them if they can afford Bentleys. But there should also be some sort of mechanism, and it unfortunately falls on us Canadians and Americans and the rest of the world to help bring the medicine to the Ukraine.